All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Appreciate you guys joining me today. Sorry if I frightened anybody with those sound bites that I played randomly as the intro was happening. It seems there's more delay than I would like on the stream, which is very annoying. Although it's not my fault, it's YouTube's fault. When I click the go live button and then it just sits there for about 20 or so seconds and then it goes live, it's like, so there's like a 20-second delay or whatever. But it is what it is. But I appreciate you guys being here today. Appreciate you joining me. We have Delwyn Jones right out of the gate with another generous super chat. Delwyn, thank you so much, buddy. You're saying, where I live from UK, there is a game shop in Sports Director Together store. So UK are lucky, plus getting the disc drive. It was available to get ready for the PS5 Pro. Keeping physical alive, as always. On-bound ready, join me, MBG, September 26th. Delwyn, I'm glad to see that you're continuing to support physical media because, man, I don't know. I'm seeing more and more developers and studios just kind of opting in for digital only releases, and I understand why, but yeah, it's actually, I think, really good to see so many people buying the disc drive in preparation for the PS5 Pro, because I almost wonder if Sony was kind of just like hoping that anybody buying the PS5 Pro would just be like, do you really need the disc drive? Do you really want it? Just go digital. You know, we're making it easy for you. Just go digital. But it's good. It's good. I always try to encourage people, support physical media. Let these publishers know that we still care about buying games physically. And I know you're hyped, Delwyn. I'm hyped too. I'm really hyped to see what this upcoming state of play is going to reveal, man. Because we got all the info about the hardware. We just need the games now. It's interesting, that game shop you're talking about. Yeah, I never heard of it. Never heard of it. But I have to rant in a minute here. I got to rant about something. Shems, you're saying Astrobot kicking your ass? Going for the platinum today. 9 trophies left. Yo, yeah, so this isn't actually what I have to rant about, but it's interesting you mentioned that, Shems, because I just beat the game this morning. Phenomenal game. Had some moments. I will say that it was longer than I expected. The game overall was longer than I expected, which was shocking because I think, there were concerns that it was going to be too short or whatever. But but I beat the game, and there's like I don't I don't think it's a spoiler. They tell you in the I think they tell you in the trophies. It's not a major spoiler, but there's basically like a bonus level that you unlock. And I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a bonus level you unlock after you beat the game, and it's very challenging. And I'm trying to 100% the game, obviously. I want to get the platinum. The challenge runs. Dude, some of these challenge runs are no joke. I mean, you play through the regular levels in Astrobot, and it's like, yeah, this isn't too bad. This is kind of simple, pretty easy. But when you play these challenge runs, some of the challenge runs are kind of easy, but there were a few. There was this one challenge run. Which one was it? I think it was with the 4X challenge runs, or cross. I know that's how it's technically called, or that's what it's technically called. There was this one, I think, with you had to, like, towards the end of it, you had to dodge like waves of birds coming at you. And dude, it just I probably had to do that one like 40 times or something. I died so many times. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, some parts of Astrobot are actually way more challenging, which is good, because it's interesting to think that if you just want to play the game regularly and just make your way from start to finish, it's very simple, very easy. Even the boss battles aren't that challenging. You know, you could die a couple times maybe to a boss, but you figure it out pretty quick. But these challenge runs are pretty tough. I kind of like it, though. I don't know, like in the moment I get frustrated sometimes, but I don't know, it's just unexpected. I wasn't expecting certain aspects of this game to be so challenging. But yeah, I'm at the very end of the game. I'm playing the bonus challenge level, and I got so pissed off earlier because I was making my way through this level, and I like made it, I think, close to the end. And then I died, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, like so I just turned it off after. I'm like, "I'll come back to this." Yeah, it's Souls-like. I can confirm Astrobot is Souls-like. Live stream it. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it, because I think the remainder of the trophies I have are unexciting. They're just like cleanup trophies, I'm pretty sure. Like stuff you're just supposed to do in random levels that I just missed. But I did collect all the bots. But it's a fun game, man. Tin Blood, you're stuck on it as well? All right, it's good to know I'm not the only one. It's good to know I'm not the only one. I'll think about it equals not happening. Well, it's not that it's not happening. It's just that there's a good chance, like, I'll complete it before we do any kind of like members stream or anything like that. Or I don't know. I guess I could. You can always replay it. I think that's kind of what I'm forgetting. Yeah, we could do that. Maybe we could do like a members stream dedicated to doing the challenge runs in Astro. I don't know. That almost sounds borderline not fun for me, though. But I guess that's the point, right? You're at 40% currently. Yeah, I think I have half the trophies. I think I have like 24 trophies or something, or 22. And it says I'm like 98 or 99% complete. Am I getting a Natria? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get that game or not. Make sure you get all the trophies or you will miss the true ending in the credits. Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Digital Dude 25 says, what's the difference between a female dog and bot? We're not talking about Astrobot still, are we, Digital Dude? When you say, you're talking about like an X-bot, right? Basically, what Digital Dude's trying to say is that the X-bots are bitches, right? Am I getting this right, Digital Dude? So I have to rant, guys. Well, listen, before I rant, I just want to say thank you guys for being here. I'm not even talking right, dude. I'm sorry if I'm going a mile a minute. I just had a bunch of sugar. I have a lot of caffeine in my system. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't even know if I'm coherent. But just want to let you guys know a couple of ways you can support the channel. Consider becoming a channel member. Okay, you become a channel member, you get the support me and the community directly, get to support the content directly, gain access to exclusive perks. If you're already a member, consider gifting memberships. We're striving to hit 25 members gifted today. Yesterday, you guys crushed the goal. We went over 50 members. Let's see if we can hit another 25 today. Let's see how far we can go. And yeah, so the third way is drop a super chat. Ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, anything in between. There's also a direct donation link at the top of the chat. A lot of you guys are starting to utilize that direct donation link, and I just want to say I appreciate that. You can leave a chat through the direct donation link just like you would a regular super chat, except 100% of what you donate goes directly to the content creator. So thank you guys for that direct support. But I have to rant to you guys about something, all right? Early stream rant. So I'm perusing Twitter this morning, right? I'm perusing Twitter this morning just like I normally do, and I come across a post that the post itself was not the problem. I actually thought the post was pretty cool. But I noticed it was a post from a very popular... Yeah, Irfan already knows. I'm glad Irfan knows. Digital Dude 25 with another super chat says, nothing but swingers over there. Indeed, Digital Dude. Indeed. Can't respect it. Can't respect it. But check this out. I came across this post. Let me bring it up here. I'm about to just... I was thinking about bringing it up on screen, but I don't want to give attention to people who don't fucking deserve it. You know, I think I'm just going to bring it up on screen. Hold on. Because I just couldn't believe this when I saw it. I was like, we're really reaching a point now. People are just constantly trying to gaslight to a degree where it's like, hold on. Here we go. All right. So this was the post. You have Dexerto, and you know they're very popular. They have like, how many followers do they have? They have almost like 1 million followers, right? And this is a gameplay clip from, I think the person's name is Munch, I think. They do a lot of gameplay clips like this. Now, what Dexerto said here is not the problem. I think this is a compliment. God of War gameplay looks like a movie. That's not a bad thing. That's a compliment, I think. But if you click on this thread, and I'm not doing it because I do not want to give shitty trolls and shitty people attention. But you have to take my word for it. If you click on this Dexerto thread and you scroll down here, there's so many people shitting all over this, dude. They're shitting on this, making it sound like God of War doesn't have any gameplay. Sony doesn't have any gameplay. It's all just QTEs. Sony just makes movie games. Blah, blah, blah. Just so many people shitting on it. And I put out my post here. I said, if there was ever a thread that reveals just how ridiculous the hate towards Sony has become, it's this one. People absolutely shitting on this, thinking it's a QTE, when in reality, it's amazingly executed gameplay. And even if you look under my own thread, I have 55 replies here. You look underneath my own thread, you still have people saying stupid shit like, you're just pressing 2 buttons. It's just a hack and slash. And these people by the way, those comments I'm referring to, the ones that are shitting on this gameplay, these are the most upvoted. These are getting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, and they're the most upvoted. Like, people are like, yes, you're right. And I'm like, you're all stupid. Like, you're as dumb as it comes, man. Like, what are you talking about? Tell me you've never played God of War Ragnarok without telling me you've never played God of War Ragnarok. And that's the saddest thing with all of this, man, is that it's like, look, We've reached that point with PlayStation and with Sony where there can no longer be normal, valid criticism, apparently, because it's got to be just totally over the top, in bad faith, hyperbolic. There are no problems with God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is one of the best games ever made, period. End of discussion. I'm not saying you have to love it or you have to like it, but to come out here and basically start acting like, oh my God, well, we're mad at Sony for charging $700 for the PS5 Pro, so now we gotta shit on God of War Ragnarok too. We gotta shit on this game. Sony, you don't make good games now either. And it's just like, give me a fucking break, man. This is why I just don't give a shit anymore about listening to criticism towards Sony. And I'm just going to make up my own damn mind before I even consider hearing what anybody else has to say, because it's just like, what the fuck are people talking about? Like, I'm seeing, you're saying, bro, chill out, you didn't make the game. It's not, I'm not trying to like be overly defensive. I know I pretty much am, but it's because this does deserve defending. Like, the fact that people are going to come out here and try to actively shit on God of War Ragnarok by making it seem like it's some overly cinematic game that doesn't have good gameplay, that doesn't have enough gameplay, and it's basically like you're playing a movie. This shit pisses me off because that's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever seen. That is the biggest pile of bullshit, and I refuse. I refuse to sit here. It's like, you want to shit on the PS5 Pro, you want to shit on Sony and call them greedy, you want to call them out for Concord, that's all fine, well, and good, but this is where the shit's crossed the line, where it's like, now we're just going to dogpile a game that got a 94 on Metacritic and is by far and away a masterpiece in all regards. We're just going to do that now. And everybody's going to agree. Fuck that. Like, no, fuck that shit. No. So that's my rant. That's my rant. And to be fair, there are people in the comments, in the replies. It's not like every single person is shitting on the game. There are people defending it. You know, if not defending it, just telling people like, man, you really sound stupid. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's nice to see that. It's just, it's very disturbing to see the level of, brain rot, hive mind mentality where, like, you know, you see this gameplay clip, and it's worth noting this gameplay clip is edited, right? Like, this is what this person does. This person specifically edits it to make it look a little bit more flashy and cinematic, which I think is awesome. I think it actually makes it look even cooler. But it's just disturbing to see the level of brain rot and just, frankly, like I said, stupidity that this hive mind mentality, it just grows and it festers and it manifests and it just gets worse and worse. I did put this post out too, by the way, and holy shit, when I tell you this post triggered so many people. This post triggered so many people. I promise you, I was not trying to trigger people. I was a little bit combative, I will say, with what I said, but I wasn't trying to actually trigger people, man. I was just being honest. Like, I don't know. I didn't expect people to get so worked up over it. I expected a response, but I didn't expect people to get so worked up. Chris Brown, you're saying God of War, most polished and optimized game of this gen. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, you could call it a PS4 game. You could say that. You could maybe say it wasn't as good as 2018's if you want, or maybe the pacing was a little bit off in some. These are all fair and valid criticisms, if you want to even call them criticisms. But I just can't stand to see this random dogpiling that people are doing now, where they're trying to just completely shit on anything Sony just because it's Sony. It's like, okay. But I said here, one image is PS5 Pro with PSSR enabled running at 60 frames per second. One is base PS5 fidelity mode running at 30 FPS. If your first thought is they look the same, then you've completely missed the fact that one is double the frame rate with the same level of visual quality. And I thought that this was an important thing to highlight, because I think this is what people are not really taking into account when we talk about the PS5 Pro, is how, like, yeah, if you look at these images, they almost look identical, right? They almost look identical. But the whole point here is one of these is running at double the frame rate at 60 frames. And a lot of the criticism I got for this tweet was I saw people basically saying, like, well, you know, MBG, you got to show video. How you expect people to, like, know the frame rate is double or know that it's running at 60? And it's like, I get that, but we're really just going to pretend now like people don't know the difference between 30 and 60 FPS. This is all people talk about these days, but now we're just suddenly going to pretend we don't know the difference unless we see it in front of us. I understand why some people are going to get frustrated at this tweet, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because it's like, yeah, this is the promise of the PS5 Pro. I'm not here to tell you it's worth it. I'm not telling you you should spend $700 or $800. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that's the idea. Here's fidelity mode on the base PS5 locked at 30 frames. Here's basically the same level of quality, but at double the frame rate. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's just a lot of nonsense on Twitter. But I had to get that rant out of the way. I honestly, I could not believe what I was seeing there, dude, with the replies underneath that God of War thread. Very, very, very disingenuous. Horizon, it's funny. I will say with that second tweet of mine, you're saying Digital Foundry confirmed it doesn't use PSSR. That's even more interesting then at that point. If you're telling me that one of those images was actually not using PSSR, but it was still hitting 60 FPS, that's actually even more surprising. That means that I guess what that means is that if they were to apply PSSR to Horizon Forbidden West, they would be able to get even more out of it. Fascinating. But yeah, Twitter's trash. All Twitter does is trigger me anymore. But that's not actually what I wanted to talk about with you guys today. I wanted to talk to you guys about the future of the console for PlayStation. Watch the Digital Foundry video. They're saying something different. Did they release their video? Let me see. Is it the one that everybody was talking about yesterday? The Digital Foundry Direct Weekly? Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to watch this, though. It's 2 hours long. It's all about the PS5 Pro, though. What do they talk about? All right, let me listen to the part where they talk about Horizon.
Next game we really want to talk about is Horizon Forbidden West, and there seems to be a lot going on here. And yeah, what can I say? I'm going to leave it to Alex to talk about it.
Oh, I got something here. Well, Oliver also looked at it too. So I'll compare and talk about the one thing I looked at. I just loaded up the game's intro on PC, and that one I don't know the name of the character. I'm sorry. The guy with the beard who talks to Aloy in the beginning of the game. They show a brief snippet, which is from that initial cutscene. And so I put it side to side with the game running on a 4070 here, using DLA DRS, and the game maxed out. And there was two things that I wanted to know. One is I can't get the footage to look exactly the same due to the color problem that I talked about earlier. Their capture looks wrong. But the resolution didn't look like 4K. Like really clean, pixel perfect lines. It's like softer. And so that's one thing to talk about the image quality here. Softer. And for some reason in this cutscene, the shadows are different, including the volumetrics in the background, which are affected by shadows. I'm not sure why. Oliver loaded up the PlayStation 5 version, and you saw something similar, right?
Yeah, so I have some speculations on it, basically, in part because initially I was trying to find pixel edges.
Oh,
and
yeah, I just realized
now
my mic was
after
muted.
my one day of pixel counting PSSR, I feel like I have a decent handle on it. So I'd been counting PSSR for a couple hours, and I went on to Horizon, and I was having a very hard time trying to find those pixel edges. And I think because of the way that Mark Cerny in particular frames this title, and because of the image resolve, which is a little bit smoother. Like Alex said, it is very smooth, but it's also absent of some image artifacts that we often see with other kinds of upsampling solutions or just TAA in general. I think it's probably not using PSSR. And if you compare PS5 and Pro here in the one shot that I did manage to scrounge together with the PS5 in its performance mode, which is an 1800p checkerboard resolution, the detail is definitely higher on PS5 Pro. It's resolving more detail in the hair in his shirt, more of the skin texture. It's got cleaner edge detail. The scene lighting is also a little bit different. Like Alex said, there's that difference in the...
So, you know what's funny? I know I don't have the video up, and I'm not going to play it anymore, but what's funny is I'm looking at this video, and like, they were saying they were comparing the PS5 base performance mode to what they showed in the video for the presentation with the PS5 Horizon PS5 Pro. And it's so funny how, like, dude, Horizon, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really know how much further you can push that game, because even in the performance mode on base PS5, it still looks really, really good. Like, it really holds up, man. Kareem Ali says, I don't understand the growing hate towards cinematic, story-driven games lately. They're my favorite. Last gen, it's all everyone wanted out of games, and now people are just despising them. Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from, Kareem, because I see a lot of that too. And you know what I think it is, man? I think it's just that people are very fickle, generally speaking. I think one day the market loves one thing, and then the next day they can't stand it. And everybody says they have their reasons. I will say the only thing that I agree with that people, like the criticism that people have put towards cinematic games, really cinematic, story-driven games, specifically when it comes to PlayStation, is some people have said that maybe Sony is doing too many. As in, they all kind of have a similar template. Some of them are open world, some of them are wide linear, but generally speaking, they all kind of follow this very similar. It has to be extremely cinematic. Have to have, photorealistic graphics, so on and so forth. Got to be third person, over the shoulder. And I get that. Like, I actually do understand, and I think that's a valid argument where it's like, well, yeah, we don't want to see Sony stagnate with their game output, where they just not make the same, like, it can only be taken so far, Kareem, because I'm sure you've seen, and I'm sure many of you guys have seen, people put up those images where it's like Horizon, Days Gone, God of War, and, Ghost of Tsushima, and they're all the same. Like, it's the same game. Like, they're all just the same. And I hate when people do that, because it's like, wow, you really are being about as disingenuous as you could possibly be, because these games, while they do have certain areas that are very much alike, they are also very distinct, very different games. I think you're out of your mind if you go and you play The Last of Us, or even The Last of Us Part 2, and then you go and you play something like Horizon Forbidden West, and you think they're the same. It's like, I don't know what you're playing or how you're playing these games, but they are not at all the same. However, do they have similarities? Yes. Are they highly cinematic? Yes. Are they games that, focus very much on graphical fidelity and characterization and dialogue? Yeah, they have these similarities, but as a game, like, playing through the game, like, it couldn't be more different in many ways. And so I think that really what it comes down to is it's always the most vocal people on the internet where it's like, we just decided we hate these types of games, and so we have to just basically shit on Sony now because they just make the same type of games all the time. But that's why I kind of ranted a little bit yesterday, because it's like, why does it feel like and seem like people talked about Astrobot for literally 2 days? Like, Like it feels a bit unfair that, you know, the internet, or at least people on the internet, are willing to make these screenshots and bitch and moan on places like Twitter and Reddit and really just make it seem like, man, Sony, what are you doing? Stop making the same games. And then Sony drops a game that's totally different from any of those. Gets great reviews, so you can't even say it's a bad game. And it feels like nobody's really talking about it. I mean, I'm trying to talk about it here on the channel. I mean, maybe we could blame the PS5 Pro for that. Maybe we could say, oh, the PS5 Pro kind of overshadowed it. But I don't know, man. I'm in agreement that these are my favorite types of games, and I absolutely do not want to see Sony walk away from them or feel like they should do less of them because, you know, there are random weirdos out there that are like, they're all the same game. I think it's very important that Sony does diversify their games in the sense that we do need more titles like Astrobot. We need different types of games interlaced between the big cinematic tentpole titles that we're all looking forward to. We definitely need that. And I think a lot of people want that. But I don't understand the hate either, man. I don't understand. There's like groups of people, they just make it seem like people don't want these games. Meanwhile, you see a game like Ghost of Tsushima launch on PC 4 years later. And it's like one of the best-selling games of the year on PC. So I don't get it. It's like, it seems people do like these games. People on other platforms do want these games as well. So I totally hear you, Kareem. This is pretty much why I went on my rant about that God of War thread a moment ago, because it really pissed me off because it confirmed something that I've suspected for a little bit now. And it confirms that people really are just bandwagoning here. They really are just, it really has become the cool thing to do to just shit on Sony and PlayStation and not be fair to what they're doing. And that is annoying to see because it's like, I mean, even yesterday, half of my stream, I almost did a 5-hour stream yesterday. Even I'll admit, like half of my stream was just me ranting basically about how I'm tired of seeing people constantly making it sound like Sony hasn't delivered games. They're not delivering games. How I just see the most upvoted replies underneath my videos, underneath my posts, somebody just leaving a sentence saying, Sony has no games. Like I saw this huge, I'll give you a good example here. And I'm curious to see what you guys think of this. I want to bring this up because I saw, you know, to be fair, this person left a well thought out comment. All right, guys, hold on. Let me find it. Looks like it got downvoted quite a bit. Unless they deleted it. Oh, well, this is awkward. I thought I was going to find the comment right away. It had a lot of upvotes. Well, on second thought, I might not be able to find it. What happened to it? It was this comment that somebody left basically saying that this upcoming State of Play is Sony's like last chance or whatever. And I just wanted to read it to see what you guys think about it. Oh, here we go. I accidentally scrolled past it. So this person says, and again, you guys tell me what you think of this comment. This person says, this State of Play, the one that's apparently happening next week, is Sony's last chance. Y'all have been coping for 4 years. They have games. They are cooking. It's not ready to show. Wait some time. So to give my thoughts on this, first off, you know, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all have been coping for 4 years. Quote, they have games. Yes. No, that's not coping. That's called playing video games. For the last 4 years, PS5 players have been playing video games, a myriad of games that Sony's released since the launch of PS5. So I think what he's really trying to say is we've been saying we want to see more first-party games revealed, but they're not ready. They're still cooking. But that was the first thing this person said. Yeah, I know. Exactly, Irfan. That's what I mean. These are the comments. Again, this is the most upvoted comment on my video, by the way. This is why I'm saying this is the most upvoted comment on my video. Sony literally released Astro Bot last fucking week. Last fucking week they released, or the week prior. It hasn't even been like 12 days. Hasn't even been a full 2 weeks. They just released a new first-party game. And I'm reading a comment that's the most upvoted saying this is Sony's last chance. Y'all have been coping saying they have games. Like, dude, I'm literally holding the DualSense in my hands, playing Astrobot as I'm reading this comment. But let's continue. In all caps, they say, it's been 4 years. When are they going to show all the big hitters? So maybe that's what they're referring to, the big hitters. When the PlayStation 6 is here, why are they not telling us what's coming in 2025 and 2026? Xbox told us what they had. Why can't Sony tell their roadmap like they did in the 2021 showcase? Did it ever cross y'all minds that maybe, just maybe, they really don't have much cooking except maybe Wolverine or Ghost of Tsushima 2? As if those aren't fucking colossal games that might just release at the very end of the generation. All the rumors y'all keep hearing of their studios working on XYZ games, who knows when these games are going to release? Most of them might release at the very end of the generation or turn out like Concord or get internally canceled. As of now, Sony has no games this generation in my books until they tell me what they have. So I will say, like, I appreciate the passion. I do. Because I do get, like, to an extent, I understand. It's like, I'm with you, man. Like, I would like to see Sony show us more games too. That is the only real concern I have is, like, are we going to go into 2025 without any game roadmap or anything? But saying read the replies. Oh, yeah, there are quite a few replies. The top reply says, if you don't like a single PlayStation game in the last 4 years, then just wait for Switch 2 or get a PC. Second most upvoted reply, sadly, Jim Ryan with his 12 live service craps was a fatal blow. Don't expect any new first-party games until October 2025. We just got a first-party game. Like, I understand Astrobot is not everybody's cup of tea, but, like, it's not fair. It's just not fair to treat a game like Astrobot like it doesn't count. It's not what I want, so it doesn't count. That is not fair. I just don't think that's right at that point. That's wild, bro. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I care about Astrobot as much as I care about something like Wolverine or something like Ghost of Tsushima 2. I don't. But I just think it's total bullshit to basically point the finger at Sony and say, Sony, where the fuck are the games? And just completely, like, shove Astro to the side like, I don't want this piece of shit. Get this out of my face. If Astrobot was a bad game, and it reviewed poorly and it was low quality, then we can do that. If Concord was like the only game Sony launched from their studios, absolutely, I would actually be in total agreement. I'd be like, this is absurd. But it's not just Concord, you know? It has not just been one game. It's never just been one game. Irfan's like, now I'm angry. Cypherpunk says, hope Sony makes more new games, bored of sequels. That I'm interested to find out, because one of the things we do know, Cypherpunk, is that some of their bigger studios, and this would explain why it's taking so long for them to cook, some of their bigger studios are working on brand new games, like new IP. For example, Sony Santa Monica. I mean, this is the God of War studio. You know, apparently people don't like God of War now, but, you know, they're one of the most talented studios Sony owns, if not the most talented. And they've been working on a brand new IP for years now. I'm not saying I'm expecting it to be revealed this year or for it to come out even next year, because it's going to take time. But that's going to be something brand new. You think about Naughty Dog. Surely Naughty Dog is working on a new IP at this point. They seem to have alluded to a new IP many times. We know that Blue Point Games is working on a new IP. Housemarque is working on a new IP. I'm pretty sure Guerrilla's actually still working on Horizon 3. Ben Studio's working on a new IP. And so it's like, yeah, there are new games. Absolutely. Like, there are new games in development, but I just think that Cypherpunk, it is understandable. Like, we have gotten quite a few sequels, and I do understand maybe the sequel burnout. So this is why I think, like, it will be interesting whenever Sony does decide to talk about their games again, like their studios, I mean. It will be interesting to see how many of these reveals will be new games. Some of these games undoubtedly are being saved for the PlayStation 6. I have no doubt about that. Kareem, you're saying, I just want Ghost 2. It's taking so long. My theory on Ghost of Tsushima 2, I'll be honest, because of how long it's taking, my theory is that when they do reveal it, we're not going to have to wait long to play it. I'm telling you, it is taking a long time, and they haven't said a word. So I'm thinking as soon as that game's revealed, we're going to find out, like, you only got to wait like another year, or maybe even less. Who knows? Maybe they want to pull some crazy shit where they're like, Ghost 2, here it is, out in 6 months. I'm not waiting for that, but 4 years is long. Oh, yeah, to be fair, I guess you're right. It hasn't been that long. It's true. It did come out in 2020. So I'd say once we reach like 2025, like the 5-year point, if we still don't know about it at that point, I might be a little worried. I'm not going to lie. If we go 5 years without hearing about the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, I'd be a little concerned. Okay, says MBG, you've suggested that PlayStation is won and is the de facto leader now. So why is it surprising people criticize the winner and find the others defending PlayStation as cringe? I mean, to be honest, it's not necessarily the biggest surprise, right? Because I do think that that's a part of it. You know, I think it's the fact that right now there's nobody swinging at Sony. Microsoft's not swinging at Sony. Nintendo's not swinging at Sony. They're both doing their own thing. And Sony, yeah, they, in this specific space, they basically did win. And I know because of that, you know, there's going to be an elevated level of criticism, as well as just people don't like the top dog, right? And I get that. I really do. And I think that it's important that we do keep that alive to a certain level, because we don't want Sony to just think that everything they do is perfectly fine. But this is where basically what I'm describing here is I would like to see a more fair balance, you know, where people, it reminds me of The Last of Us Part 2. It really does, where it's like, I don't want to see the valid and like real conversations that need to happen or that should happen fall to the wayside, because all people are doing, or all you can really notice happening, are two people very emotionally driven screaming at one another. And this is why I got to be careful myself here, because I'm starting to play into it too much. And I got to reel it back in myself, where it's like, I want the conversation around Sony to be an honest one, and one that can be productive. That's all I actually want, because I don't think that means everybody's just going to shake hands and agree all the time. No, I think it does mean there will be disagreements. I think it does mean there will be different takes, different opinions. Some things people like, some things people don't. But what I can't stand to see is that the conversation around PlayStation at this moment in time has just completely seemingly devolved, not everywhere, but in most places, it has devolved into just, you know, like all out war and chaos, where it's just like people are throwing stones at one another practically, you know? And it's like, it's like people are talking to each other. Like, if you were to imagine these were actual real people in a room with one another talking about these topics, they're talking to each other like they're about to swing at one another. And I'm like, guys, this is not productive. This is not helpful. This is not even, I mean, maybe it's entertaining, but it's not interesting. Like, I don't know. I guess everybody's here for a different reason. And it just frustrates me when I try to be as fair and balanced as I can, where it's like, listen, I don't think Sony's perfect. I don't think PlayStation is perfect. I think they're far from it. I think there are certainly things that Sony has failed at and things that they need to improve on quite a bit. But at the same time, I do think PlayStation has done much more good than bad from my perspective. And again, if I encounter somebody who completely disagrees with that, where they're like, dude, I don't agree at all, I think that's fine. I know a lot of people completely disagree with that, but my only expectation, and this is probably a bad expectation to have because it's not going to be met, my only expectation is if you're going to disagree and then explain to me why Sony has actually done way more bad than good, just be fair in your assessment. You know what I mean? Don't be disingenuous. Because when I see people, basically jumping to the conclusion, like, again, I know it's like I'm a broken record at this point, but the PS5 Pro, like, people jump to the conclusion that Sony, this is a joke and you're greedy as shit. But then completely ignore all the other factors surrounding it, such as, well, hold on now. What can this console actually do? What's actually inside this box? Maybe we should acknowledge the actual economic reality that, yeah, the price of these parts are not decreasing. Therefore, this explains pretty clearly, like, why the price of the consoles are not decreasing, but actually increasing. And you can't engage in these types of conversations with these people, because if you say something like that, even though it's backed by logic and reason, it doesn't matter, because no, you're just a shill. You're just a fanboy, and you're just okay with everything Sony does. Yeah, I know, JMR. I apologize. I'm being way overly redundant. I do apologize. But MBG, do you not find it entertaining? I mean, I don't know. I get certain levels of entertainment out of it occasionally. Like, I come across some stuff that I do find pretty comical or pretty silly, and I don't necessarily, I'm not opposed to people just having fun with this shit, because it's games. It's like it's not the most serious thing at the end of the day. I'm not opposed to people just having some fun with it. But it just seems like in the last year and a half or so, almost going on 2 years at this point, it really does seem like some people have taken things to another level where it's like, okay, this is becoming kind of unhealthy and concerning, a little bit concerning, with the way people are behaving over this shit. It's like, guys, come on. Like, there should be some level of just some level of reasoning here. But MBG, you have great taste in music. Soundgarden and Alice Cooper shirts, awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I attribute not the entirety of my taste in music, but certainly the majority of it, like the bulk of it, to my father. He was really into rock, rock from the 70s, 80s, 90s, but I naturally gravitated towards that as well. But, like, I don't know, something like Soundgarden, I think I got into Soundgarden, like, mostly on my own. I think my dad, I don't know if he likes Soundgarden or not. I never really asked him. That's true, Shadowlink. MBG, logic and emotion are like oil and water. They do not mix. Well, anyway, I should probably talk to you guys about the actual report that I wanted to discuss with you guys today, now that we're almost an hour into the stream. I'm just a little bit thrown off today because I was running way behind and I started my stream 15 minutes late. And I know, like, to pretty much everybody, that's not a big deal, but I'm not even saying it's a big deal to me, but I don't know, man. I'm a creature of habit, and I always try to be on time with my stuff. So being 15 minutes behind definitely threw me off a little bit. But here we go. PlayStation's CEO talks about the future of the PlayStation console, specifically how Sony views it internally. Michael, you're saying everyone tell him it's a big deal so he feels bad. Thank you for that, Michael. Just what I need. It's fine. Blame the cat. So I have a report here from Push Square, and they say it feels like, at least among enthusiasts, PCs are growing in popularity at a remarkable rate. Many balked at the price of the PS5 Pro this week, with some arguing they'd rather just build a really good PC instead. While there's been much hand-wringing over whether an equivalent computer can be created for $700, you're certainly getting into the territory of a powerful PC with prices that high. PlayStation co-CEO Hideaki Nishino is not concerned. In a machine-translated interview with Nikkei, I think that's how you say that, he explained, quote, "I think that many mobile games have ads, and PCs are difficult to set up. With PlayStation, you can play the content you purchased as soon as you turn it on. The products are clearly displayed in the stores where you buy software, so it's an intuitive experience," end quote. Of course, Sony itself is bringing its games to PC, but Nishino stresses that console remains its primary focus. Quote, "We are trying to increase the overall game market by expanding content to PCs. There is no doubt that home consoles will be the core of our business, but by offering titles for devices other than home consoles, we will reach a wider range of customers," end quote. So he didn't say a whole lot, but I do think it's interesting to kind of maybe hone in on what Mr. Nishino is saying here. Now, I want to focus in here on the part where he says, "I think that many mobile games have ads and that PCs are difficult to set up." Now, this is fascinating to me because he's going from one extreme end to the other and basically trying to set up a situation where the console kind of falls right in the middle there, where the mobile market is for the most casual, and therefore the experience is going to be the most annoying and intrusive in the sense that you can enjoy mobile games, but you probably have to deal with a lot of ads and stuff like that. Just a lot of stuff being thrown in your face just to even be able to play the game. But then he says, PC on the other end, which is all the way on the other end of the spectrum, it is the most highly customizable. It has, the most options at your disposal and the most amount of configurations. But the way he phrases it is it can be difficult to set up. Now, I don't know that. I'm not sure if that comment would trigger a lot of PC players, but generally speaking, there does seem to be a level of consensus that PCs can be a little bit more difficult in terms of just having to, run certain games or being able, with drivers and stuff like that. And I think there is a level of truth to what he's saying. And he's basically saying that the console kind of fills in this gap where it is meant to be a very simple experience. And I think that that's kind of the heart of what the console is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a dedicated piece of hardware that runs games, and that's its only function. That's what it's supposed to be, the main function. You just plug it in and you play the game. That's not to say that these machines don't offer more. They do. You can use your PS5 as a media box if you want, although I don't think you can browse the internet on it or anything. But the general idea that he's getting at here is that Sony, this is where they have found their success. They have found their success through a market that gravitates towards this type of gaming experience. Doesn't mean that those same people aren't also playing on mobile or also playing on PC. They very well could be. But he also follows it up by basically saying here that, yes, we are releasing our titles on PC, or at least some of our titles on PC, but the PlayStation console remains the core of their business. And I feel like the messaging he's delivering here is something we've been hearing Sony say for quite some time, and it's not surprising. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I expected PlayStation's new CEO to come out and say the PlayStation console is no longer the core of our business strategy, and it's not at the center, and it's not the priority. I didn't expect him to say that. But what I think we are kind of getting here is, at the very minimum, Sony's approach to the console will not change, at the very least, until the beginning of the PlayStation 6 generation. But I almost wonder if this... Yeah. Oh, guys, hold on one second. I actually have to tend to something. Give me a moment. All right, I'm sorry about that, guys. I had to just do some heavy lifting there. I'm shockingly late to my stream. I'm an hour and 15 minutes late. There was a heavy package that I had to bring in. I'm a little winded. Damn. Just had to, take a little break there. Cut myself off. No, Michael, it wasn't that. All right. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying. The whole stream's messed up now. The whole stream's messed up. No, I'm just kidding. I just need to catch my breath here. Anyway, interruption aside, what I'm trying to say is that it's not surprising to me that Sony has come out during the time of revealing the PS5 Pro, knowing there's a lot of conversation happening between console versus PC. What's the point? Blah, blah, blah. Sony comes out and says, look, it's still our priority. It's still our main focus. No, Chase. No, that's not what it was. I assure you. Let me make sure I didn't miss something here. Nope, we're good. So I guess the question becomes, when is the console no longer the core focus for Sony? When does that happen? When does that happen? I really wonder this. I have a theory, and I've mentioned it a couple times before, and I'll mention it again. My theory is that this happens only when console sales start to drop very significantly. That's when Sony basically decides that they may have to shift their focus more than they would probably like to, but they have to. Only then. And we have Fishy Q here. He says, I traded in my Series S, digital PS5, and 2 extra PS5 controllers for just under $600 at GameStop towards the PS5 Pro. I have some PS3 Platinums I need to get to keep me occupied until then. Damn, you went all out. That's pretty good, though. I mean, I don't know. Oh, you know what? No, that is good. My bad. For some reason, I read that as 2 PS5s. I was about to say, like, bro, I think GameStop may have ripped you off giving you that amount for 2 PS5s, but it's actually a digital. You had a digital PS5 and 2 extra controllers. And they give you traded in a Series S. How much did they give you for that Series S, dude? But you're set, man. $600. Have to shell out, I guess, 100. Seems like you're fishy cute. Sounds like you're all good being digital only. And we have the Game Profit re-upping their membership today, coming back to greatness awaits. The Game Profit, thank you so much for that, buddy. So, hey, Game Profit, you're the first one to move the counter here. First member of the day. Good stuff, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We did do a members lounge a couple days ago. If you're interested, go check that out. But there's a ton of members content. You have access to all of it now. Go check out whatever might interest you. A couple gameplay streams as well. But that's funny. You've decided, you know what, you're gonna trade in your stuff now, get that store credit. The Series S was $220. Okay. That's a little surprising to me for some reason. Like I'm surprised that they're giving so much for a Series S. That's certainly more than I would have expected for a Series S. But you're good to go, man. I'm curious, what games are you platinuming? You're saying you're going back to PS3 to platinum some games, keep you busy. That's funny. You're gonna go from playing PS3 games to picking up your PS5 Pro. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of that. Because if you think about it, if you spend the next, like, what is it, 2 months or like month and a half or so just playing older PS3 games, you're definitely going to see the difference when you pick up the Pro. Not a bad way to go about it, dude. The Game Prophet says, you're welcome, bud. This is the best crowd on YouTube. Well, thank you so much for that, dude. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, I think we have a great community here. We really do. I mean, we always have our detractors, but, you know, I see a lot of you guys show up consistently on streams, see a lot of the conversations that take place, and I think we got a lot of good people here. Would I like a Days Gone sequel on the PS5? Absolutely. I don't think we're going to get it, though, but I absolutely would love to see that. I think Days Gone is... I could see Sony doing something with Days Gone in the future, but I think it's going to be, like, way down the line. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because the reason I say this is I always try to remind people, and I forget sometimes myself, they're making a Days Gone movie. So I'm not sure why Sony would pursue making a movie for an IP that they would consider dead and they've moved on from. Okay, you're saying his comments suggest it's more likely day and date on PC. Yeah, this is something that people have been speculating for a long time when it comes to PlayStation. The idea that they're eventually going to do all of their games day and date. Would I be willing to do a Helldivers buff update member stream? Oh, I don't know about that. I did go back to Helldivers for a little bit, as you know, some particle, when that big update came out. As of right now, I don't necessarily have that on the docket because there's just too many other games I got to find the time to start playing and games that are coming out. But I don't know. I'm still kind of paying a little bit of attention to Helldivers 2 and seeing what they're doing. I know that they basically tease there's going to be a third faction, a third enemy faction. So I would assume there's going to be some kind of big update coming in the not too distant future. Maybe then I would come back to it. But I'm happy to hear that they're listening to the community and buffing it. Well, not buffing the game, but buffing all the weapons and stratagems and whatnot that people were unhappy with. The Illuminate, yeah. But okay, to get back to your super chat, I wouldn't be totally surprised. I think, here's what I think, all right? If we really believe that the PlayStation 6 is going to be a very expensive console, if we do believe that, and that's just how it's going to be at minimum $700, maybe even more than $700, maybe even $800. And this is what Sony decides on. What I could see them doing is having a plan that essentially looks like this. We're going to put this expensive PlayStation 6 console out there, but because we've never launched a console this expensive before, we have no idea what to expect sales-wise. So what we will do is we will monitor those sales. And if the PlayStation 6 at a very high price point fails to sell well and seems to get off to a very slow start, then we will pivot and make the announcement that all of our games are going to go day and date on PC. But if it does sell well, then we can hold off on that. Now, the only thing that makes me think that plan could be very flawed is the fact that I don't know it's as simple as that. I don't know that Sony can just decide, hey, all your games that you're developing, or all our games that we're developing across all of our studios, we're just going to snap our fingers and suddenly there's going to be PC versions. I don't think it works like that. So, well, I mean, I guess if we consider the fact that pretty much all of Sony studios have transitioned to developing for both PlayStation and PC, it is possible that by the time we get to the PlayStation 6 generation, most of Sony studios will be working on PC games as well. Like, they'll be co-developing a PlayStation 5/6 version and a PC version. And that's not to say that all of their games will immediately launch on PC, because they could still just do it the exact way they're doing it right now. They could just continue to release the games on console first, get as many sales as they can, move as many hardware units as they can, and once that slows down, announce the PC version and then release it a year later, maybe 2 years later. It seems to be working out pretty well for Sony. But the whole thing here for me is the pricing of the console, right? If the console is going to be very, very expensive, that could completely change Sony's strategy and how they release their games. And I don't know. It's something that we'll just have to kind of continue to monitor and pay attention to. But I think at least for the remainder of the PS5 generation, I think they're just going to kind of stick to the way they've been doing it. And if there's going to be some kind of major transition to day and date PC for all of their games, not just multiplayer, but single player as well, I think a major transition like that occurs maybe sometime at the beginning of the next generation. But if there's one thing that we should understand, is that Sony, they're not as opposed to this as you might think. And I understand that there are some people like Michael Lynch. I see what you're saying. You're saying, Sony won't do that. I'm not so sure that I know that, though, because what I do know about Sony now is they made some decisions this generation that I think prior to the PS5 generation, prior to this generation kicking off, I think people were saying the same thing. Oh, they wouldn't do that. They would never do that. A lot has changed. Sony is operating very differently now as a business than they were in 2017, 2018. Certainly very different than they were in 2013 and 14 and 15. So I'm not saying to lock it in. I'm just saying, as I've said many times, expect anything. Of course, I'm expecting anything, but I'm trying to find the logic, And to me, the logic simply could be a level of confidence, right? Like, Maybe it doesn't have to do with PlayStation sales. Maybe Sony would be willing to do day and date on PC if they just simply thought, look, we're pretty sure this won't hurt our console sales. Like, we're pretty sure we'll still do fine. They could do that, and they'll find out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they'll be fine or not. Waylark, you're saying paying for online is so shit. Bring PS5 cost to $1,000 over 4 years. Yeah, I will say, man, like this is something that will become very. I'm very interested to see how this all plays out, because I do agree with you, Waylark. I don't like paying to play online. I do pay for PS Plus, and I guess maybe the reason for that, truthfully, is I'm just conditioned to do it. I am. Like, I've been paying for PlayStation Plus for years. Prior to that, I was paying for Xbox Live. And this, that whole time, it's like, you don't have to pay for this if you're on PC. And I knew that, but it, it's more of like a principle thing. Like, it's not like a affordability thing. Like, I can afford to pay for PlayStation Plus. I can afford to pay for Xbox Live. But it's a principle thing where it does kind of annoy me that, man, like, why are we still... It just doesn't feel right. Like, we shouldn't have to pay to use our internet to play online. It just feels like a unnecessary paywall, right? Totally unnecessary. And what's interesting is as the lines begin to blur, where Sony is getting more and more involved with PC and they're embracing PC more, if it's true that one day they're going to have a launcher on PC, and maybe one day all of their games will launch day and date on PC, and they're still releasing consoles, it's just, I don't know, man. As time goes on, as the lines continue to blur, it will make me start to question, like, I don't know, Sony, be careful, because I am somebody who I would say is loyal to the console. And I won't lie, like, I will still have consoles, regardless of whether or not I stop paying for PlayStation Plus. Like, I still want consoles. I still like consoles, and that will just always be how I play games to a certain extent. But I don't know, man. More games are cross-play now than ever before. So it's one of these things where Sony has to be careful, where if Sony themselves starts to make PC look like a better deal all around, that I think is where things get messy for Sony themselves. Because it's like, Sony, if you really do make a launcher for PC, where I think about my PC that I have right now, right? Let's just say tomorrow Sony announces the PlayStation launcher for PC. I click it, it's just a PlayStation logo on my PC, and boom, it turns my PC into a PS5. I can connect my DualSense and navigate it just like a PS5. It's the same UI and everything. Except, well, I don't know. At that point, see, that's what I'm. If Sony were to do that, like, if you want to play a multiplayer game through the PlayStation PC launcher, would they still charge you for PlayStation Plus? I don't know. Either way, it does suck, but I don't know, man. It's one of these things where I don't want to go to PC to game unless I have to. I think that's just the reality for me. I don't know. I think about it from like a psychological level. I saw this comment that this person left. I forget where. I think I read it on Twitter recently. And this person was like, I don't like to game on my PC for the same reason I don't like to browse the internet on my PC. This person said, I like to use my PC for productivity, and I use my phone or my tablet for browsing the internet mindlessly. And I like to use my console for gaming. And I kind of realized, like, I think that's kind of how I operate as well, where to me, that's what my PC is. My PC is for productivity. It's for video editing. It's for streaming. It's for doing productive stuff. I do occasionally browse the internet on my PC, but not often. And anytime I catch myself starting to go down a rabbit hole, I'm like, all right, just walk away. My phone, I don't use my phone really for, I mean, I use it sometimes for productivity, but 98% of the time, that's what I use my phone for. It's kind of just like, let me just go scroll Twitter. Let me go check Reddit. Let me just go scroll YouTube or something, you know? And I realize like that's what I do with gaming too. Like the console's where I game. So I just think maybe for me, it's like, as weird as it sounds, I think a lot of people go to PC because they're like, I can have it all in one place. And I think to a lot of people, that sounds like the most ideal thing. Like, yes, I want all of the things that I do in one place. But I think for me, and I think this applies to other people out there, the way I'm wired, I think I almost want these things to be separate. You know, I want these things to be separate. If I'm going to sit down at a desk, you know, to me, that's okay. This is work mode, right? Or productivity mode. If I'm going to sit down on the sofa or a recliner, that's relax mode, game mode, watch, you know, movie / TV, whatever, just chill mode. And if I'm whipping out my phone, that's just brain rot mode, where I'm just going to rot my brain and mindlessly scroll the internet. I don't know. It reminds me of the saying, never mix business with pleasure. Although you could argue that's exactly what I'm doing here with gaming. But, you know, I think the sentiment behind it. You have 4 monitors on your PC, or for your PC. That's impressive. 4 monitors. What about a beanbag chair? Oh my God, I hate those things. Dude, how could anybody actually sit on those? Like, for real, sit on them. Like, yes, I can't wait to just sit back on my beanbag. No offense, I'm sorry if that's what you like, but I could never do that. I've always hated beanbag chairs. I just feel like I'm in like a... I think I'm like trapped or something, dude. Michael Lynch with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. You say, yes, but you said it yourself in a previous video that the PlayStation 6 is meant for the masses and they cannot afford to make it expensive like the Pro. Well, this is why I'm saying, Michael, it's the number one thing I would tell PlayStation players or fans, especially the enthusiasts who really pay attention to this stuff, like us. The number one thing I would say is truly be prepared for anything come the beginning of the PlayStation 6 generation. I think it's fine if you want to go in assuming that not much is going to change, but I do think it would be wise to prepare for anything to happen. The reason why I say this is because I get this feeling. It's like a hunch where I feel like Sony is going to pursue new strategies at the beginning of the PlayStation 6 generation. Like, I think a lot of things are going to stay the same. Like, there will be a console. There will be a hardware focus. There will be games. There will be... I mean, I assume there will be some level of exclusivity. But I just get this feeling that we're going to start to see Sony really do some different things. Like, I think we're going to see PlayStation Plus make its way to different places. I think we are going to see Sony get more aggressive with PC to some level. I could be wrong, and they might not do this. They might stay much more conservative than I expected. But I guess I just can't help but think that from the PlayStation 1 up to the PlayStation 4, Sony basically did things the same way for 4 straight generations. They didn't really deviate that much at all. But then when the PlayStation 5 generation came around, they deviated in many ways. Again, I will never forget the reaction from the internet when Sony first announced that Horizon Zero Dawn was coming to PC. Like, it was nuts. I saw people trying to flush their consoles down their toilet. I don't think that was real, but the point is, it was nuts. And if you think about everything that's happened since then, it's just gotten crazier and crazier. You know, where it's like we're doing a live service strategy. We're bringing even more games to PC. You know, we're doing a really expensive Pro console that people are going to start flushing their consoles down the toilet again. Or I don't know, like. they're just, I guess I'm just trying to say that while I do believe Sony, their end goal is to continue to try to appeal to the mass market, I do wonder ultimately, and I know some people are not going to want to hear this, but I do wonder if Sony is going to begin to embrace the Microsoft strategy here, where Microsoft's goal, I'm not here to speak on how successful they've been. I'm just here to say their strategy and their goal is like, we need to appeal to everybody. Like, we can't just try to exclusively appeal to the console market. We can't just exclusively appeal to the mobile market. We can't just exclusively appeal to the cloud market or, you know, the PC market. Like, the idea is we have to take our gaming brand and bring it to everybody. I don't know that this is exactly what Sony's going to do, and I'm not banking on that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, knowing that at the end of the day, Hiroki Totoki is essentially in charge of the PlayStation brand. I mean, Hideaki Nishino is the CEO of the platform, but Hiroki Totoki, you know, he's like the emperor here, you know, in terms of who's the buck stop with when it comes down to it. And I think that when I listen to Sony corporate, when I listen to Hiroki Totoki, when I listen to Kenichiro Yoshida, the CEO of Sony, like they do sound a bit like Microsoft sometimes, where like they have this wider ambition, where it's like we want to be global and we want to be everywhere and we want everybody involved with our games and our IP. Now, granted, Sony's been exploring this with like movies and TV shows and, you know, trying to do live service, and that's all fine, well and good. And apparently they still have something they're spooling up with mobile. But I'm just saying that by the time the PlayStation 6 rolls around, I mean, that's, you know, it's going to be 3 or 4 years from now. A lot can happen in 3 or 4 years, certainly. Look at where we are now, right? Look at where we were at the beginning of 2020 to where we are now. A lot can and will happen. I wouldn't be completely shocked or caught off guard if by the time the PlayStation 6 rolls around, we pretty much find out that Sony has a very, very different strategy in mind for the PlayStation brand going forward. And I'm not here to say that that'll be a good or a bad thing. I just think that it's a matter of understanding that Sony Group, not just the PlayStation division, but Sony Group has an ambition. And that ambition is certainly going to affect and impact the way the PlayStation division is run and the business decisions that they make. Now, granted, I do think something like Concord, for example, not to bring that up again, but something like Concord, I think very much reveals that there's like a trickle down. You know, it's like, this is the ambition of Sony's CEO, of Sony's CFO, of Sony Group. It trickles down to the PlayStation division. Suddenly, hey, we got this game, Concord. It looks like it could be a global smash hit. Relatable characters. You know, it's colorful. It's appealing to all ages. Like, it's going to be a big thing, you know, and it's really going to help kind of grow the brand in a more global way. And I would just, again, I would love to know what Sony Group thinks of Concord. And that's where it's like, I do fear that ambition. I do fear that ambition because the same reason why I bitched and moaned so much about Microsoft over the years is one of the things I just couldn't stand about Microsoft is exactly that, where it's like, we need to appeal to everybody and their mother and their grandmother and their aunts and their uncles and their brothers and their sisters, you know, and it's like, I'm all about inclusivity and I'm all about like getting new people involved. But I also think that there is like some level of gatekeeping. And I know people don't like that word gatekeeping, but that's the word I'm going to use. There is some level of gatekeeping that I think can be beneficial in that it helps preserve something for what it is, because that's something we're referring to. Yeah, it's not going to appeal to everybody. It's not meant to appeal to everybody. It's not made for everybody. And I feel like these corporate executives, they have such global ambition, and especially being driven by the need to grow because of the shareholders. I feel like they overlook the reality, I think, a lot of times, that some of the stuff you're doing just isn't meant for everybody, and it's not going to be. And that is like, that can be okay. Like, it's okay if 100 million people don't, it's okay if God of War can't reach 50 million players or 100 million players. That's okay. It's okay if Bloodborne can't reach 20 million players or 40 million players. And that's the irony when I see some of these really successful games, something like Elden Ring. You think when From Software you think when Miyazaki was directing Elden Ring, he thought, yeah, we're gonna appeal to 20 million people here. We're gonna get 20 million sales. No. I mean, I'm sure he was aware that, like, it should be good and hopefully it will find its audience. But they definitely did not go into the development of Elden Ring trying to appeal to 20 million plus people. At this point, probably close to 30 million people. They didn't do that. They went in trying to appeal to the audience that they already established, but just with an extra layer of, I guess you could say, realistic ambition. And because of that, the growth that they experienced, the blowing up of Elden Ring happened very naturally. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, my bad. I did miss your super chat. You have a super chat here saying, I now prefer the Xbox UI over PlayStation. Customization is crazy. That's interesting. I have a friend who actually games on Xbox and says that they really love the Xbox UI and they can't stand the PS5 UI. I'll have to check it. I haven't used the Xbox UI in a long time. Yeah, no, I appreciate you letting me know. I definitely overlooked it there, Chris. But the PS5 UI, I don't really have any complaints with. It gets the job done. I will say, dude, Sony had it with the XMB. Sony had the best UI. The only UI you would ever need with the XMB. And the waves and the background, it was perfect. But, this is what I mean about these companies sometimes, man. It's like, how do you walk backwards from that? I don't get it. Like, I know that when you reach the top, the only direction left to go is down, but, like, come on, bro. I'm not saying the PS5 UI is bad. I like the PS5 UI. I'm just saying, if you compare the PS5 UI, I want you to just imagine if the PlayStation 5 had a modern, updated XMB. You don't think the XMB was better? No, dude, I think it was. I think the biggest problem with the cross media bar was it was kind of slow and chunky. And I think that was, again, I think that was just a limitation from the time. As PS3, the PlayStation Store was like a piece of shit and everything. Everything was slow. You think, what? You're saying it looked trash and was awful to look at? Bro, this is blasphemy right now. What's XMB? It's the cross media bar with the PS3. And I think the PSP had it as well. The best UI was the Vita bubbles. I never did get to try that. The XMB was good, but there's no live advertisements to be integrated to it. Yeah, you're right. That's probably why. It's so dated. I don't know, man. I would love to see, like, Sony come back with a very updated, very fast, smooth XMB. I just love the idea of, like, I don't know. I can kind of understand why Sony got away from it, because they wanted to just focus on, like, it should just be a game machine. And I understand how like the XMB, again, it kind of does, it goes against kind of what I said earlier, where it's like it tries to put all your stuff where it's like, here's your games, here's your videos, here's your movies, here's your photos. I just like, I don't know. I just like the way it was organized. It was very, very cool. But hot take, I've never liked any of PlayStation's UIs. It's legit just squares. The 360 had a great, well, the 360 had a lot of different iterations of the UI, but I liked a lot of them. I liked a lot of what the 360 did. The one I remember the most is with your avatars, when you would go into your friends section and it would show like, because you could you could customize your avatar, you could customize the background of your avatar, and it would, you would scroll over each one and it would show your friend's avatar and their background. I love that, dude. And I loved when you could actually unlock items for your avatar in game. Do you guys remember that on the 360? You could actually unlock certain avatar items in games you played, and you could put them on your avatar or in like your. That was awesome. I thought that was like one of the coolest things that Microsoft ever did, and it's such a shame that they just totally abandoned it and walked away from it. Who the hell is Carlos says, do you think GTA 6 will be 60 FPS? Delay announcement in May of 2025. Is there some kind of rumor about that? Is there a rumor that there's going to be a delay announcement? I was asked this question. Oh, you sent it through a super chat. You tried to send it through Streamlabs. Oh, it's okay. I appreciate it either way, man. I don't think GTA 6 is going to be 60 FPS. As I said yesterday, if you go and you look at something like Red Dead Redemption 2, and that game came out in 2018, also for last gen consoles, I'm not expecting it. It would be amazing if it did, but I'm going in assuming 30 FPS. I think it's going to be the most technically advanced video game we've ever seen in history. And I think because of that, it's going to be a very justified 30 FPS. I think if we see a 60 FPS GTA 6, that's not going to happen till next generation. That's my expectation. And as for it getting delayed, I mean, it very well could get delayed. Hanzo, you want that on merch? You want Laser Eyed Totoki and Scheming Cerny? Hanzo, are you telling me if I put those emojis on a mug or a shirt, you'll buy it? Red Gaming Tech has a new video out on the PlayStation 6. Did you reveal any new information on it? Because I have a video going out later today on the PlayStation 6 as well. A new report. Yeah, I would say for now, dude, just expect GTA 6 to be 30. Just keep the expectations low because, I don't know. Could I make a fake Knack 3 shirt? Okay. You're saying a former Rockstar developer said May 2025 would probably be when the delay announcement would happen if it were to get delayed. Interesting. Well, I'm interested to see if we're going to get a second trailer from them before the end of the year. That's my that's what I really want to know. Just give me a moment here. what is this? KSI, Mr. Beast, and Logan Paul have teamed up to launch a brand new product named Lunchly. Each pack will contain a Prime hydration drink and Feastables chocolate. Oh, dude, they made their own Lunchables? Is that what I'm looking at? Holy shit, they actually made their own Lunchables. Sorry, I popped on Twitter real quick to see if there was anything coming up. Lunchly. Yeah, I'm looking at like the pictures of it. The boxes look just like Lunchables. Except, I guess, with Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and KSI products. It feels kind of cursed, man. I'll be honest. Feels a little bit cursed. Has anybody here tried Prime before? I've had Prime before. I think like 2 or 3 times. It's okay. It doesn't taste too bad, but I don't know, man. I'm like, eh. It just feels like any other drink, you know? It's nasty. I had the it was like the red, I don't know what flavor. I guess like fruit punch or something. It was okay. Well, it wasn't too bad. I'll just stick with water, you know. I go for the hydration packets. That's what I go for. Yeah. I mean, I drink Gatorade sometimes as well. I go for like Liquid IV or oh wow. Bro, there's no way. Is this like a bot that like triggered to join the chat when we started talking about drinks? Somebody named R. Kelly in the chat said, "What's up, everybody? Does anybody care for some lemonade?" What the fuck? Ryan says, "Damn, MBG has R. Kelly trolls now." The timing of that has to be a bot. That can't be real. What are the chances that as soon as we transition to talking about drinks, you know, the only thing I really think about when I think of R. Kelly is the meme that kept going around when I guess he did some kind of meltdown interview and he like basically seemed like, "Y'all killing me out here." And he was like scream crying, and it was just like, oh my God, it was so hard not to laugh at it because like people kept using that for all different things. And I'm like, this is just, it's all brain rot. Fighting for my life out here. Oh yeah. Is that what he said too? Damn. I'm going to have to use that. I don't know. Should I make a soundbite of that? I feel like that's in poor taste though. Cause it's like when you realize like, man, this guy like was guilty and is now just in prison. It's like, it just makes it like less funny, you know? But you're saying, no, don't do that. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. It's one of these things where it's like, nah, bro. Nah. Boss, you stink, bro. I'm gonna have to bathe this cat. Guys, listen, we're only sitting at 1 member right now, bro. We're sitting at 1 member. He farted on me. You're done. Get out of here, man. I can't believe this. We're sitting at 1 member, guys. We got to hit 25 if we're gonna feed this beast. Because he's coming over here. He's farting on me, and he's trying to bite my mic. He knows what he's doing. Likala, if I'm saying your name correctly, with the super chat, says, have to say the difference in graphics between PS5 and PS5 Pro is is the same as I've seen on Digital Foundry with Ultra PC and current console a while. And Chase Andrew drops a membership gift. Chase.
Thank you.
Good stuff, man. Thank you for answering the call. Chase wants to feed the beast. He drops a membership gift. Bring us up to 2 on the day. Guys, remember, you can always drop a single member gift. They help a lot as well. Appreciate that, Chase. Let me reread this super chat because I feel like I didn't fully understand it. Let me try again. I have to say the difference in graphics between the PS5 and Pro is the same as I've seen on Digital Foundry with Ultra PC and current console. Okay. So you're saying, in other words, you think it looks pretty good. You're saying that the comparisons you're seeing, like the results that the PS5 Pro is producing, at least based off of what we've seen so far, are actually much closer to like Ultra PC settings that they compare it to. That's interesting. Yeah, I might have to try to tune into this Digital Foundry thing. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Digital Foundry lately, but maybe I'll have to keep up with it, see what they have to say. I'm not sure yet. Digital Foundry said PSSR is looking good. Well, that's reassuring. Yeah, I really am kind of interested to see what Digital Foundry had to say in this video, only because, I mean, I can't play it here. Like I said, it's 2 hours. But because this was the one that people were talking about yesterday, and people were shitting all over the PS5 Pro because of it. But now, you know, people were saying that Digital Foundry was like making fun of the PS5 Pro or like laughing at it. I'm like, I don't know about that. Somebody says here, I hope Sony implements, these are like the comments on the video. I hope Sony implements PSSR in a way that when it gets an update, every game automatically uses the latest version. Somebody says PS5 Pro is just a $700 early access beta test for a PSSR for PS6. Somebody says image quality for Rebirth, Star Wars Outlaws, Space Marine 2, and Returnal would all really benefit from PSSR. Interesting. For content, MBG could compare his 360 to the Pro. Oh, that's a possibility. Yeah, I feel bad because like I have a very, very capable gaming PC and I just like don't use it. It makes me wonder if I made, I don't know, I don't think I made a mistake in my purchase because I knew like when I purchased this PC, I could be, you know, playing some games on PC. As of right now, I haven't really played many. I think I played like Hellblade 2 and that's it. But PS5 Pro seems like a bigger leap than PS4 to PS4 Pro. That's an interesting thought there. MBG, I think the reason for the high price for the Pro is the 2 terabyte SSD should have 1 terabyte for $600. Sony should reduce the price of the disk drive to $50. Yeah, I'm not against any of those things. I think that would, all of what you said actually would make more sense. But I don't know. I don't know exactly why Sony opted in to go with a 2 terabyte drive for the Pro. I mean, it's good to have more storage, but I don't know. It just does seem like maybe it helps justify them charging $700. I don't know. You think they're going to release a 1 terabyte model later? They could do that, yeah. Oh my God. Bro, we still got R. Kelly here in the chat. He's getting crazier with what he's saying. I mean, I guess it's better than like a shitty troll, you know? I guess it's better than that. Check this out. Article from IGN. A former Bungie lawyer has commented on upcoming improvements to Embattled Live Service looter shooter Destiny 2, saying the role of parent company Sony in forcing through these changes is very much a good thing. Last week, Bungie unveiled what it called major changes to Destiny 2 that it hopes will win back players. Bungie has reportedly struggled to meet key financial targets, with Destiny 2 significantly underperforming last year. The Final Shape expansion reportedly sold less at launch than last year's critically panned Lightfall. This evolution aims to enhance the player experience through a new multi-year saga, introducing a non-linear story, more systematic innovation, and significant improvements to core game activities and rewards, Bungie said. One of the problems with Destiny 2 that Bungie has now identified is that it's nigh on impenetrable to newcomers. Speaking in a blog post, the game director Tyson Green admitted Destiny is too complex. With literally hundreds of activities, you practically need a PhD to decide what to play and how to get rewards you're looking for. Green added, before revealing plans to modernizing Destiny 2's user interface to make it easier for everyone to find and launch integrate activities. In a LinkedIn post, Don McGowan, the former general counsel at Bungie, reacted to a Kotaku article rounding up the Destiny 2 changes to say that he was pleased with Sony's apparent influence here, which he said means the studio is finally running the game like a business. Much though it pains me to say this, it appears that Sony's inflicting some discipline on my former colleagues may have forced them to fix the things that were wrong with their game, McGowan said. To be clear, I'm not talking about the layoffs. I'm talking about forcing them to get their heads out of their asses and focus on things like implementing a method of new player acquisition, not just doing fan service for the fans in the Bungie C-suite, and running the game like a business. Good. I still have friends in that environment, and I'd like them to keep jobs. This is the future I thought the company should embrace after the Sony acquisition. A studio, not an independent company. But there were a lot of egos for whom it was important to pretend that nothing would change. I remember sitting there during the deal saying, do you think Sony describes this as them getting to pay $3.6 billion for the right to have no input into what Bungie does? That was exactly what a lot of people thought. I guess they've been given cause to understand that that's not how things work. Good. The changes described in this article are the things you do to run a franchise, not to keep making the game you and your friends have mastered or chase trends. Damn. That's interesting stuff there, man. That's Bungie's former lawyer basically saying, like, Sony had to straighten their shit out, and he's glad that they did. And one of the more interesting things that he seems to have revealed here is that apparently there were a lot of people inside of Bungie, higher ups at Bungie, who thought that they were going to be bought for $3.6 billion. They were going to get paid $3.6 billion for their company. And they were just, Sony wasn't going to say a damn word. And I just think that that's humorous. It's like, man, you do have to be up pretty far up your own ass to believe that. Shadowlink, you're saying MBG, everyone complained about tech. They gave new tech. Then about power. They added power. Then storage, and they added storage. Now everyone complains, shaking my head. I know, man. I know. Trust me. I get it, Shadowlink. Well, that was an interesting report regarding Bungie. PS5's Astrobot is the USA's best-selling game in its first week. This is being reported by Push Square. This just came out. Says, while the Circana NPD report for September's US video game sales has yet to be released, the firm's own Matt Piscatella has weighed in on Astrobot's sales performance thus far. Unfortunately, we haven't seen official figures from Sony, and probably won't unless they're truly noteworthy, and have so far had to rely on information from the UK market. The story has been somewhat mixed, but it's a little clearer across the Atlantic. Piscatella posted on Blue Sky, commenting on how PS5's superlative, platformer is doing in the charts. According to the Circana analyst, in its first week on the market, Astrobot was second only to NBA 2K25 in the USA, including physical and digital sales. In addition, the Astrobot DualSense controller was the week's best-selling accessory. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good news, I would say, right? Don't usually talk weeklies, but wanted to add some context to the UK reporting from last week. Across both physical and digital, Astrobot ranked second in unit sales in the US for the week ending September 7th, only behind NBA 2K25. Waylark, you're saying it only sold 12,000 copies in Japan. Yeah, apparently it didn't do very well in Japan, but I don't know, man. In the US, that's pretty good. I mean, there's no way Astrobot was going to beat NBA 2K25. So I don't know. I hope it's doing well, man. It's a good game. It deserves the success. PS5 Pro shows real promise in first expert analysis. It's still extremely early days for the PS5 Pro, but early expert analysis from Digital Foundry is in, and it's sounding cautiously optimistic. Of course, it's important to note that you can still think Sony's new gen system is too expensive. That's a perfectly valid point of view. You can also believe the improvements aren't worth the asking price. However, we can't ignore the very real enhancements on display as discussed in the video. One thing worth addressing is that some of the details from the previously paywalled video leaked over the weekend, completely removed of context. That led Remedy's communications bigwig Thomas Pua, I think that's how you say his name, to release a statement about Alan Wake 2. In essence, some pretty low internal resolutions are being attached to these early PS5 Pro builds, but as Digital Foundry itself points out, the quantity of pixels is becoming less important as we begin to focus on the quality of those pixels. So in some games, you're talking about internal resolutions as low as 864p, but the entire point of PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR, is to bump the overall image quality using AI-powered technology. It says here, as expert Richard Ledbetter explains, quote, PS5 Pro receives extra GPU horsepower, enhanced ray tracing capabilities, and machine learning capabilities. The idea is for the big three to work in tandem, delivering superior quality visuals from a more holistic standpoint. Internal resolution is only one element of overall image quality, and PSSR is already showing some promise, delivering results that diminish the importance of the base pixel count, end quote. Digital Foundry notes that in these early indications, PSSR isn't on par with industry standard DLSS just yet, but it's an improvement on AMD's own FSR2. Quote, already we can see that the upscaling quality of PSSR lacks many of the profound issues we've noted when FSR2 is running at very low resolutions. It's early days, it's not perfect, but there's grounds for optimism, end quote. So there we go. See, this is exactly why, dude. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just more, not this article, but more bullshit. Where yesterday, it seems like there are people who are literally doing everything in their power to destroy the PS5 Pro, man. Where yesterday, people were fucking jumping on these rumors of this Digital Foundry paywalled Patreon video, and they just fucking removed all the context. They removed all the context, and they did this so that way the headlines people see, game runs at 800p or 864p on PS5 Pro. Meanwhile, if you fucking watch Digital Foundry's video, or if you actually let people watch the entirety of it and then do proper reporting on it, it turns out Digital Foundry thinks it's all pretty good. It turns out that the PSSR AI upscaler is doing its job, and it's doing it well. And they're sitting here telling you that this is actually quite promising. This is what I'm saying, man. Fuck these clowns. I'm tired of this shit. I would just wish Sony would shut some of this shit down, man. I really do. And I know they're not going to, because it's beneath them and it's petty, and I get it. But, like, it's bullshit, man. Like, the way I saw people talking about this paywalled Digital Foundry video, I thought it was going to be a disaster. I thought that they were going to be completely destroying it and shitting on it and like, yeah, this is bad. Instead, it's the literal opposite. What a joke. What a joke, man. And what's sad? The amount of people that run with that stuff. They run with it and they make it seem like everything's on fire. Planet Schlorping, you're saying, MBG, do you like Alice in Chains? Off topic, but I'm just wondering. Yeah, I really do like Alice in Chains. They're on my playlist rotation. Honestly, probably too much. Like, I've gotten to the point where, like, Alice in Chains, I think, plays too much on my playlist. But, yeah, I love Alice in Chains. Marathon will maybe be $40 at launch. I'm expecting it to be, yeah. Robin says, wait till it's official or you can see it with your own eyes before judgment. That's my take. Gaming Survivor says, the gaming community always runs with narratives. The price set a negative narrative. So now everyone will dunk on it. Just the way it is. That's very true. Do I like Alice in Wonderland? Not really. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just like kind of indifferent to Alice in Wonderland. Mrs. MBG, on the other hand, really likes Alice in Wonderland. Mrs. MBG like those, what were those games? They were like Alice in Wonderland games, but they were like, Mrs. MBG loves the original Alice in Wonderland, like not like the Disneyfied version of it, like the darker one, like the real one. American McGee, yeah, there we go. Yeah, she liked those games. Terrence, you're saying I started listening to Alice in Chains because of you? Oh, interesting. Yeah, they're a great band, man. Alice in Wonderland and Chains. Yeah, I remember way back in the day watching her play that game. I wonder why they never continued him. Is Mrs. MBG a goth girl? No. I don't know. Did she have a goth phase? I think she did have a goth. I don't know. I feel like she did. I don't know if it was like full goth. Maybe slightly. But no, she's not like goth. She's not like a goth girl today, When does Tokyo Game Show happen? The 24th, I believe, is when it starts. I think that's the first day of Tokyo Game Show. Emo? I'll have to ask her. Does she listen to Screamo? Mrs. MBG listens to like a bit of everything, honestly. She listens to like everything. But yeah, she's into a lot of metal and rock and stuff like that. But she listens to a lot of stuff I would never listen to. She's more open-minded like that with music. I'm not. I'm very much like, I don't say one note, but I don't know, man. I stick to my lane when it comes to music. Yeah, she says here she was the emo queen. She said maybe a touch goth girl, but she was emo. I wonder what I was. I think I was just a weirdo. I was the weird kid. Guys, I think I'm like kind of autistic. So I don't know. Like maybe that. Because I like look back at some of the like just the way I kind of was growing up, and I'm like, I don't know if that was normal. Terrence says I was a Radiohead fan. Oh no, MBG, the simps are going to come out of the cave with that information. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time until the entire channel transforms where I'm no longer on it. There's going to be a whole, like back catalog of content where it's just me talking to you guys. But the future of the channel is clearly Emo Mrs. MBG just running the channel and the audience just being simps at that point. And yeah, I'm going to go on vacation, relax a little bit, not have to worry about the stress of ranting on stream anymore. MBG was the kid wearing cowboy boots and hat. No, I wasn't like that weird. No. I don't know how weird I was. Like, I do sometimes wonder if I could just like kind of watch myself, like go back in time and just watch myself, what I would think. Like, wow, okay, the hell's wrong with me? I was into skating a lot. I was into skateboarding, but I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily, like, I didn't wear like skinny jeans or anything like that. I don't know. There were certain phases that I was surrounded by, and I'm just like, no. I remember skinny jeans was a big thing. Yeah, emo skater. No, I probably was emo in the sense that like I was not happy. And I think everybody could see that I'm not happy, but I didn't dress emo. Like, I know it was like a style. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Whoever said I wore camo in school. Yes, that was me. I would wear camo a lot. But to be fair, that wasn't just me. That was like mostly my dad. My dad, he's in the military. So he just bought me a bunch of camo shit. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. Yeah, I was wearing all black. MBG lore. No, Kendall Fire. No. I don't know. I usually kept to myself. If you're talking about like in school, I was not very social. It makes sense that I am where I am in my life because outside of talking to you guys, I'm very, very antisocial. Like, I do not socialize. And in school, I was kind of the same way. I did have friends and I talked to people. And I had a group of friends, but I was just definitely not the most social. So I'd say like a good description for me at one point was combat boots with camo pants and a skateboard and a band tee and hair. At that point, hair. Did I used to say rar? No. Jesus, no. Do I look like the type of person that used to say that? RAR XD. I will tell you this, there was one time in my life. Yeah, Mrs. MBG is texting me right now because I guess she's watching the chat. There was this one point in my life where I did grow my hair out. And my hair back then, my hair would grow in really curly. I think I showed you guys a picture a long time ago of like when I grew my hair out the longest it ever was. And it was basically just like a poof, I guess. I don't know. And there was one time, this was like when me and Mrs. MBG first started dating. And she like asked me to straighten my hair. And I said, okay. Because of course I was going to say, okay. And I think there was like a week of my life where I had my hair straightened. And I have a picture somewhere. And I look back at that and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like I straight up did look emo. I actually I had the whole look going on for like a week. I just just long, straight black hair. Like some kind of Trent Reznor look going on or something. Whipped it. looking back on it, it's like, yeah, of course I was going to say, yeah, go ahead. You can straighten my hair. Put makeup on me. I don't give a shit. And we've been together ever since. Little did she know that my hair was just going to fall out and it was just going to gray and fall out, you know, before I am 40. So yeah, she was the girlfriend at the time. We've been together that long. Me and Mrs. MBG have been together since we were teenagers. Pretty much since like the end of middle school, beginning of high school. Gaming Survivor. I don't like the sound of that, man. I don't like the sound of that, Gaming Survivor. Picture Perfect Love Story. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's one of the things that went right in my life, I would say, which I'm grateful for. You know, I mean, especially these days, man, one of the things I do see on Twitter all the time is I just see so much shit. I don't know what's changed, and I was never like part of the dating scene, but man, it just seems crazy out there. And I'm just like kind of thankful like I don't have to deal with it. It seems like a fucking nightmare. So I do feel very blessed and thankful for that. Like I see that there's like, I think more people these days that are just like, yeah, I'm not going to date. I'm not even going to bother trying to date, you know? And initially that sounds weird to me, but then when I start to see like the way it is out there these days, I'm like, okay, it starts to make sense. I can understand. Saying dating is fun. I guess it's not all bad. Yeah, I guess maybe that's why. Like the people who are having fun and enjoying dating and having good dates, you don't really hear from them. It's all the bad dates, all the things that go wrong. Dating nowadays is wild. Saying thankfully I've been with my wife since high school. Well, there you go. Well, we had that in common. JC, you're saying I'm 33 and said screw it. Nick once again asking, MBG, are you home alone? I did just hear tapping outside my window. I'm very concerned right now, Nick. Dude, I saw the funniest video yesterday. And this is really random. This is like really off topic. Shem's like, is like, MBG, change the topic fast. I actually was, yeah, I was going to change the topic. I came across this video yesterday. It was like a 45-minute video. And the video was basically about like why the United States could never be invaded. And it was like the most overkill video I've ever seen. But it was like super in depth of this guy explaining how like it's just literally impossible for the United States to ever be invaded by any other country, or even like if the entire world turned against the US, like they wouldn't be able. It's like OP. And I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because, dude, some of the comments on that video were, yeah, Chase, you're like more guns than people. Dude, some of the comments on that video were some of the funniest shit I think I've ever read. I almost want to see if I can find it. Like I was legitimately, there was one comment that had me laughing out loud for probably a solid 2 minutes. I bet you I could find it just by searching it. Oh, wow. There's like way more videos on this topic than I expected. I can't find the video now. Son of a bitch. Why the U.S. defense plan is unbeatable. Shit. Anyway, I can't find the video, but basically one of the comments was somebody was like, imagine being like a Russian soldier or a Russian paratrooper, and you're like, you know, you get you drop off. He's like, God forbid you're the dude, you're the Russian paratrooper that drops into Compton. You know, you're gonna drop into a middle in a street, and you're gonna look around, and the last thing the poor soul's gonna see is a window rolling down of a Kia Soul. And I'm just like, my God, dude. Somebody else basically left a comment being like, yeah, you're gonna be the paratrooper invading the U.S. You're gonna drop into like the Midwest, and you're gonna be like, why do I hear doom music? And Bubba Joe's gonna come out of the fucking corn screaming rip and tear. Shit just had me rolling. I'm like, my God. You think Compton will still be there when they drop the troops? I don't know, man. It was I'm not doing these comments justice. I wish I could find the video, but they were some golden comments. Parachuting into Compton. I will say though, man, when I was watching that video, I'm like, holy shit. I did not, like, as somebody who lives in the US, I mean, I did not realize that, my God, like, yeah, the US's military defense is nuts, like absolutely nuts, just like crazier than I had realized. But you know something else I learned? Did you know that the US apparently has multiple air carrier fleets that actually run on nuclear power? Like they're not actually run on like diesel fuel. And because of this, they don't have to stop to refuel, like, ever. They could just keep going. That, like, I didn't know that. I'm like, that's kind of nuts. Apparently, the only other country that has that is France, and they only have one carrier that is capable of doing that. But the U.S. has like multiple. My God, the U.S. dude, the U.S. military is so OP. It's wild. America. France would surrender it. Just some of the random shit I learn on these random videos I click on. Something else I learned too is apparently certain submarines that are out there in the ocean, like the nuclear subs, they're also running on nuclear power, so they don't have to surface for like 6 months or some shit at a time. I'm like, what the hell? It's like kind of scary, actually. With Putin's mentality, Alaska is definitely historic Russian area. It's probably the video by Real Life Lore. Is that the one? Let me check. Oh, I think you're right, actually. Yeah. This is it. Oh, here it is. Why every country combined still couldn't invade the U.S.
The fantasy of a hostile.
Let me see if I can find some of these comments. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Abraham Lincoln. That's a crazy... If that quote's really... I mean, is that a real Abraham Lincoln quote? That's nuts. It feels so true, dude. Like, that quote feels genuinely, like, true today. Invading the U.S. would be nearly impossible because you would have to fight through the largest and best equipped armed force in the world. You would also have to fight the U.S. military. Damn, dude. Yeah, dude, I feel so... I have to get my shit straight. I'm basically keep doing members lounge content during non-members lounges. Maybe this is good though. I'm trying to give an idea to non-members what the members lounge content offers. So maybe when we start doing, we'll spool up the members lounges again. We'll start doing it more frequently. People will know. It says here, the U.S. is what happens after you snowball in the later eras of a Civ game. You cannot invade mainland United States. There would be a rifle behind each blade of grass. That's a quote from Isoroku Yamamoto. The largest air force in the world is the U.S. Air Force. The second largest is the U.S. Navy. Outsiders are cooked, bro. I think Sun Tzu said, quote, "You don't want to see why the U.S. has no health care," end quote. Some of these comments are golden. Yaren with a super chat says, did you ever talk about the paralyzed man that had a Neuralink brain chip implant and was able to play games like Civ and even Mario Kart? Actually, no. I never even heard of this, Yaren. This is news to me. That's crazy. That's actually awesome in a way, though. The idea that a completely paralyzed person was able to actually start playing these games. I'm assuming like just using their brain, using their mind. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. Because it's like, man, what it almost seems like I know there's actual science behind it, but it seems like magic. Like we're just going to put this thing in your brain and you're going to be able to do shit with your thoughts. It's like, whoa. All right. I got to let Leia in. Leia, come here. Come say hi to everybody. Come on. Hold on, guys. Man. Look at that. Leia, you're no fun. She's no fun. She always just leaves. It's like, nah, I don't want to be here. Did Boss lick her a couple times? Yeah. Sometimes Boss and Leia try to clean each other, but then they just start fighting. Let me read a couple more of these comments. This person says, you mentioned the well-armed population several times, but neglected to mention that as a result of having such a massive military, the U.S. also has a massive veteran population, with 6% of the civilian population being military vets. So while there are 2.8 million people currently serving in the military, there are almost 10 times that who have served, and the majority of whom would instantly stand up and put that training back into practice. That's an interesting thought. Why to not invade the U.S.? Reason number one, everyone owns a gun. Reason number two, we have Florida men. This person says that reminder, any and all of this information is the declassified capabilities. Considering how much that's a joke in habitual line crossers content, I'd assume at least a 25% increase in range, speed, and general capabilities of the armaments. That's another crazy thought, is all the shit we talk about when it comes to the military is just, this is the shit we know. You know there's a bunch of classified stuff we know nothing about. We probably got aliens on our side, dude. I bet you the aliens are on our side. How did we become this, like, how did we become this powerful as a military? We got like rail guns and shit. This person says, bro, this video is basically patriotic Viagra. So this is why aliens in movies always invade America first. It's an interesting thought. This person says, as an American, I truly get off on the amount of videos telling me that my own country is only threatened by itself. The world. We would never try to invade you. America, we like to imagine you trying. Why does this video feel a bit like a kid telling you his brother is so strong that no one in the universe can ever defeat him? Paratrooper number 1. Okay, we landed in the middle of nowhere. We should be safe to set up a forwarding base. Paratrooper number 2. I'm pretty sure I heard Doom music all the way down there. Bubba Joe, rip and tear. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. I'm sorry. I'm fascinated by these comments. I'm trying to find that one that I read earlier, or that I was alluding to. I can't seem to find it. Roman Empire, British Empire, Mongol Empire, or Ottoman Empire didn't get conquered first. They started rotting from within, with costs becoming uncontrollable and separatism slowly increasing. Shit. I mean, surely, like, I don't know. America can't last forever, right? Nothing ever does. We're rotting from the inside. So it's happening in the US. It's failing as we speak. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident, I'm going to be honest. Damn mold. This is Xbox's fault. You know what's wrong with America? Xbox. God damn you, Microsoft. We weren't meant to communicate at the level of social media. I think you're right. I think you're right about that. I blame the Series S. You know what America's problem is? That goddamn Series S. It's so funny because it's like, if you think about it, it's the opposite in a way. It's like less patriotic to support Sony PlayStation or the Nintendo. You know what I mean? MBG, the US defense budget is bigger than the next 13 countries combined, including Russia's and China's budget. And the others are mostly allies. Yeah, that's the crazy part, dude. That's the whole thing. Like, I guess at that point you think, well, then I guess we're just going to descend into nuclear warfare. But I don't know, man. If the destruction is mutually assured, it almost does seem like, yeah, it seems like if you're going to try to take down a nation with a military this powerful, you do it kind of covertly. You know, you don't really do it forcefully. You just kind of, you let it implode from the inside out. And you think about communications, you think about the internet. Everything's different now. Everything's changed. Perception is the perception is the reality. That's why there isn't money for healthcare, infrastructure, etc. You know, I was thinking about that. It does seem like the US went maybe a little too overkill. Too overkill with the military spending. Well, I mean, another video I was reading about yesterday, which, you know, as an American, just makes me feel like even more disturbed. I was watching this video about how, like, the U.S. it's in so much debt, and it just, like, will never be able to get out of it. It's like $35 trillion in debt. Like, every U.S. citizen has, like, a base debt of, like, $100,000. And I'm over here thinking, like, damn, dude, if you're late to pay a credit card, they will hound your ass. Like, I don't get, you know what I mean? It's like, well, damn, I'm supposed to feel bad about my debt. Meanwhile, my country, you know, the country I live in is like $35 trillion in debt. Trillion a day in interest. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's such a ridiculous amount of money, $35 trillion. Like, that's not even real. Like, that just sounds, it's like a made up number at that point. What even is that? Let's just print 35 trillion, pay everything off. Should figure itself out. I don't know, man. The US has a lot of money. It's 0.01% who have most of it. Yeah, that's what, yeah, there's so many systems seem completely broken, and it starts to feel like they've been so broken for so long, and it really seems to me that basically what it's boiled down to is people just kind of passing the problem off to somebody else. It's like, well, my time's done here, my work's done here. It's like the Jim Ryan, you know, like, we're gonna pull a Jim Ryan, like, well, my work here is done. Good luck, guys. I'm out. Damn boomers. What's after a trillion? Quadrillion? Is that true? I don't know. I don't really think beyond trillion. It is a quadrillion, really. 1,000 trillion is a quadrillion. Yeah, we're America. We're $1 quadrillion in debt. It doesn't sound real, dude. That sounds totally fake. Like that, $1 quadrillion. You owe us $1 quadrillion. It's an unfathomable number. You can't really quantify that. There's no reason why a trillionaire needs to exist. I don't think billionaires need to exist, dude. I saw somebody, there's like this famous tweet that went viral, and it was like, this person said, we should make a hard rule that when you reach like $999 million, you can't go past that. Like, you're not allowed to become a billionaire. Like, you max out at 999 million. And I'm like, that sounds totally reasonable to me. Like, nobody needs to be a billionaire. Nobody. Because if you think about it, like, people who become multi-billionaires, they become powerful. I mean, powerful to a degree where it's like they now have a real tangible impact on the world around us. And so we're totally at the mercy of their character. I mean, of course, you know, the government is there, but I don't know, man. The lines seem to get a little bit blurred. Yeah, we do need outer heaven, man. Wealth beyond nations. What do you even do? Am I a social? Does that make me a socialist? I don't know. I don't really categorize myself. Like, I'm American, and I do believe in capitalism, but I just also believe like capitalism has flaws. Like, very clearly, like end stage capitalism is seemingly flawed. So what is the solution? I think the solution is, well, we stick with capitalism as the base foundation, and when we reach the end stage, we sprinkle a little bit of socialism. Just enough socialism to rebalance it so it doesn't fucking die, you know, and like everything doesn't turn to shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'd be able to solve problems. I don't know. So I know this shit's it's not that easy. It's not that simple, but I don't know. I do think to myself, like, I'm not a fan of the idea of like, we're just going to take your money, bro. Like, I know you fairly and squarely, or at least you would assume, earned your billions upon billions of dollars, but it's too much. and you're breaking the system. So we're just going to take that and spread the wealth. Like, I understand that, like, fundamentally it's like, but, you know, that feels not fair, not right. But it's like, I don't know, man. This is why I'm saying, like, if I was a multi-billionaire, if I had like $300 billion, I would just feel straight up guilty at that point. Like, I have to be a philanthropist. Like, I got to do something big with that money, because if I'm just sitting on that money, and you know, and I would just feel guilty. Like, what the fuck, man? I have all this power, and like I have power, and I'm choosing to do nothing, and I would feel a real sense of anxiety. I also imagine, like, when you become a multi-billionaire, dude, like, could you imagine the way people treat you? You ever think about that? Like, you ever think about how, like, in a way, this, like, becoming super rich almost dehumanizes you? If you think about it. Like, when people know you're ultra rich, like, they just treat you differently. And I always imagine that, like, if I became super rich, I mean, like, mega rich, I just imagine that anybody I would know or would encounter that, like, knows me and knows I'm rich, like, I feel like they would treat me differently. And I get why, because it's just like, I don't know. When you know what it's like to struggle financially, you know the value of a dollar, but more importantly, you know, like, the type of shitty situations you can be in if you don't have enough money. I don't know. We're gonna get you mega rich. I think about that sometimes, man. Like, the idea of being rich. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that if millions and millions of dollars were just deposited into my bank account tomorrow, that I wouldn't be fucking thrilled and like, let's go. You know, of course. But I try to think, like, long term. Okay, like, what would I do? Like, really, what would I do? And I don't know. I just feel like I'm the type of person that if I was just sitting on a shit ton of money, I would just feel guilty. I know that sounds weird, but I would just feel like I don't need this. I guess I'm saying, I could be wrong, and maybe it's easy to say this when you don't have money. But if I had just an egregiously excessive amount of money, I'd probably just do what I need to do with, you know, just secure myself, my family, my family's future, you know, my kids' future, friends maybe. And then after that, I would feel like, yeah, I don't know that I want to just hold on to all this money. The 10-figure plus net worth individuals spoken to value time as a commodity above all else. Makes sense. Yeah, time is valuable. Rich douche MBG. Wealthy people are also depressed and medicated. Yeah, I really don't think. I think money doesn't buy happiness. Money opens up opportunity. And opportunity is what can lead to happiness. That's my belief. Now, to be fair, you don't need money to have opportunity. I think money definitely increases opportunity, right? Like, the amount of opportunity at your, you know, that you're presented with. But I think that it's not exclusive to money. You know what I mean? Opportunity presents itself in many different ways. But I do just think that the more money you have, the more potential opportunity you have. And each opportunity is the potential to find happiness or misery. It's really up to you. It's a tool. Yeah, it's a good way of viewing it. Money's a tool. It's how you use it. Chris Brown, you're saying, like the Trump/Hillary debate, he admitted they keep loopholes in law for their friends, and he uses the codes to and expose them. They use it for donors. Damn, I didn't know about. Yeah, I didn't know that, Chris. I mean, I think I'm not saying that every successful rich person or every politician, I'm not saying they're all like every single one is totally corrupt, but I don't know, man. It seems like people are just truly at the mercy of the systems they're brought into. And I think everybody, when, you know, the higher up they climb, they start to realize that, oh, there's a way that this all works. And I don't know. I think about, I'm just getting like really off topic. I'm going to end this very soon because this is definitely supposed to be a members lounge and it's not. This is the second stream that I was supposed to end it and start a members lounge. So I do apologize to my members, although I don't think many of you guys mind. I guess it's good to have the occasional free members lounge added on to the regular stream. But I don't know. I think about the people who have made like some of the biggest impact in just in a very pure way, you know, and like they all seemingly end up dead or shot or something. And it, like, I'll never understand that, you know, and I guess that's just the world we live in where it's like, no, you got to play the game. If you're alive and breathing, you got to play the game. And if you're not playing the game, you're probably going to end up either living in not living in misery, but you're going to end up with very little or dead. And that sounds really shitty, but I don't know, man. It happens. I don't understand. I don't understand how, I don't know, just good people throughout history who have really just had very pure, very simple messages that truly I think every living person can get behind. For some reason, like, they end up getting just fucking annihilated. I mean, they're remembered. Like, their message transcends their existence on the planet, but it's just sad to me that that's the world we live in, where it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, why can't the people who are spreading those type of messages, why can't they be leaders? Why can't they be the ones in charge of shit? And that's what bothers me. It's like, no, because that's just not the way the system works. The way the system works is we need a little bit of corruption at all times. That's very true, Devil Shooter. We all end up dead anyway. And that concludes today's stream. So I hope you're leaving here today feeling upbeat and positive. Don't worry too much, because we all die anyway. Shit, man, I don't know. Does that bring you comfort, or does that terrify you? I don't know. There's a worldwide agenda. That's why I love the laser-eyed Hiroki Totoki there as well. Because they get murdered before they can get anywhere. I know. It's total bullshit. It's total bullshit. But I guess that's kind of the great mystery of life. You know, the great mystery of life is we know eventually everybody leaves this planet. We just don't know where the hell they go. And for all we know, they go somewhere much better. Well, I mean, if they're good, they go somewhere better. If they're bad, they go somewhere not so good. Or maybe they go nowhere. They go to the astral realm. But we're just, the people who are still here, though, we're just left here to like be like, I don't know, bro. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you believe. This is the part where we enter like deep philosophical, you know, to suffer. We're here to suffer. I mean, it does feel like that sometimes, but it feels like, I don't know, we're meant to learn something along the way. I don't know. Gaming Survivors hype is like, yes, we did it. We got an astral realm section outside of the members lounge. V2 says, I just came back to the stream. What are we on, LOL? Well, we're long past gaming talk. We're just talking about, I don't know, what are we talking about? We're just having like general philosophical discussion. Rudy's like, don't start this shit. Would you rather be talking about Concord, Rudy? Listen, this is all I got today. We either got Concord again or more philosophy. Take your pick. Life is about playing awesome video games with your friends. I just can't wait to find out when we all pass away that this is a video game. We're just playing, like, this is The Sims. This is the most advanced version of The Sims. It's all simulation. I can't wait. I can't wait to find out. We just like wake up and it's like, so how was your game, bro? It's like, what? What are we talking about? Yeah, you lived a lifetime. What was it like? You just simmed a lifetime. Could you imagine that? Like, could you just imagine that's actually what this is? Like, you like wake up, you like leave a pod or some shit. It's like, yeah, that was just a game, bro. So wait, you're telling me in my game, I dedicated my life to playing games and talking about games? 7 out of 10. Yeah, literally the Matrix. Gameception. Damn, Magnum Gaming, that's deep. That's very deep, Magnum Gaming. That makes me think about like we talk about reincarnation sometimes on the channel when we talk about this type of shit. You're saying like if you don't remember before you were born, then when you die, it's like pulling the plug and everything goes black again. But I don't know, like one of the things that fascinates me about the idea of reincarnation is if reincarnation is real, then based off of what little we know, it's like you're not supposed to remember. It is like that. It's like your memory gets erased. Like your soul, I guess, is like a real thing and it like transfers, but your memories and everything that you experienced gets erased. Or maybe it doesn't get erased, but you like once you're back on Earth living consciously again, you're not allowed to remember it. That's always been fascinating to me because it's like, hold on. It's like, so if I'm playing a game and I play the game from start to finish, I don't beat it, but I learn a lot of the mechanics. I learn a lot about the game. And then your save file is erased, except when you start again, you also don't have the experience. Like you have to relearn the game. Like that concept fascinates me. No, see, it's not like New Game Plus though. Because New Game Plus is the idea that you get to carry over what you've learned and apply it again. This is more like the way I interpret reincarnation is like, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Rogue games to the extreme. That's what this is. Gaming Survivor says his save file is always corrupted. It's a Souls-like. It's a cosmic roguelite. Damn, I think we're really figuring this one out, guys. That's an interesting take, Terrence. You're saying humans are so egotistical that they believe that we have a soul after life is over. I don't think that's egotistical, Terrence. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, where like we want, maybe there's like a level where it's like, yeah, of course I still live. Like I don't die, I live. Like I get that. There's like a level of ego involved, but I don't know. I think it goes beyond that, where it's like, to me, it's when you start to observe the things at a molecular level all the way to the cosmic level and everything in between, where it's like, whoa, what's going on here? It's like, yeah, you don't know shit, dude. So there is a level of ego, I think, to definitively say something. I do believe that. And it's not always ego. I guess it's, could be faith. But to definitively say, like, this is the answer, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, like, people need that. And I wish I had that. I don't have it quite yet, though. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm too open-minded to everything. We were told that by the creator. We didn't make that up as humans. You know what this conversation reminds me of, or Shadowlink, specifically what you said? It reminds me of, you guys ever see that movie Prometheus? I mean, I know that's like part of like the Alien series and whatnot, but I always thought Prometheus was super interesting with like the ideas of like the idea of the engineers this like super advanced race that created us or whatever, and then we became really technologically advanced, and we like sought them out. We're going down the rabbit hole. Oh yeah, we are in the rabbit hole, man. Damn it, Novinzer, I didn't. Novinzer's gonna kill me, bro. He's like, did you watch the movie I recommended? Nah. Did you watch the video I recommended? No, I didn't watch the video. God damn it, MBG. You gonna watch anything? The engineer is Mark Cerny's family. Well, I hope everybody who's not a member right now, I don't know how many non-members are here. I don't think there's many non-members here. I see it some. Well, to anybody who's not a member, the last like hour and a half of this stream has basically been a members lounge. I want you to just keep this in mind, because when you see members lounges in the future, this is just a little taste of what they're like. Trying to put some free samples out there, We talk about other stuff as well in the members lounge. It's not always like this, I promise. No, I have not seen that, Chris Brown. Has the poison ivy been dealt with? No. So I've actually decided, Gaming Survivor, I'm just gonna let it die. And in the middle of winter, in the dead of winter, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna take that shit out when it's at its weakest. Yep, I've made the decision. I have to just let it go for now. It's slowly starting to die. Once it dies, I'm gonna go out there in winter. It's totally withered and weak. I'm going to rip and tear. Winter assault. I love it. Winter assault, baby. Let's go. You should hold me to it, because I actually I cannot let another year go by. Because this is what happened last year, is it died. And I was like, it doesn't look so bad now. Because that's the thing. Once all this overgrowth shit dies and you just see the vines and stuff, it really doesn't look that bad. But it's deceptive. And once it came back this year and it started growing in, it came like full force, bro. And it was like 3 times bigger. And I'm like, okay. So I need to make sure this winter I absolutely annihilate that shit, because it will come back even worse next summer. Did you catch the news on GTA 6 being 60 FPS on the Pro? Whoa, did I miss something? Hold on now. I mean, I know people were having conversations about it, but I don't think there was any official news. No, I'm not seeing anything official. I think he's referring to maybe the conversations. Reincarnated Prestige 1. Hip Hop Gamer. I don't know, man. You're saying Hip Hop Gamer confirmed it? I don't know if he's actually a reliable source or not. I mean, I know he's been around for a long time. Is he reliable? I'd be great, dude. One thing I see it occasionally. It seems like Hip Hop Gamer actually, he always is meeting with like people in the industry, and it always catches me off guard, because he's like walking around with like this belt. He is. I guess he's like in character. I don't know. Maybe that's just really what he's like, but it's almost seems like he's in character, but he's actually like meeting with like people in the industry. I'm like, how the? It's like, no offense to him. It's just like, but how? Like, how the fuck does he have these connections? So I don't know. It's one of these things where it's like, maybe he's true. Maybe he is actually getting like some real info. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, I saw he like met Phil. He was like talking to Phil Spencer not that long ago. He's been around for over 20 years. Oh, has he been around that long? That's interesting. Well, hey, man. He's still grinding, you know? Got to respect the grind. But, guys, we are approaching the 3-hour mark. And, again, I did see that Magnum Gaming. Actually, I did see that interaction. That was painful to watch. Because it just felt so it felt like, I don't know, man. Tom Henderson like woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day or some shit. There are no more topics. It's a Monday. I always contemplate whether or not I want to stream on Mondays because Mondays, I notice like Sundays always go pretty well. But then Mondays, it's kind of like it's hit or miss. Sometimes there's a decent amount of topics to discuss on Mondays. Other times it's just like, You know what I think it is though? I basically talked about everything we could possibly talk about that happened in the last week for like 5 hours yesterday. So it kind of makes sense why it's like the next day, how much is there really left to say? So, but hey, like I said, you guys basically, all my non-members, you basically got a free members launch today. Different types of discussions. I don't know if Devil Shooter's here. Devil Shooter, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't think you really have to timestamp this one. If you already did, that's cool. We can use it. Yep, it's already almost October. Should just stream games on Mondays. Well, I do have a video that I put out, or I didn't put it out yet, but I have a video that I made earlier. That'll be going out a little bit later. You want your members lounge refund. Boycott. Remember when Colt pretended he was getting a text from an insider during a live stream, but it wasn't real? Are you serious? That didn't happen, did it? Nuh-uh. That's not real. MBG, did you stream later? A little bit, yeah. I started the stream like 15 minutes later than normal. But yeah, Devil Shoot. I mean, I don't know if you already did the timestamps or not. If you didn't, don't worry about it. If you did, that's fine. We'll use them. I'm only saying that because like this stream is all over the place today. Is not really. I was supposed to stop this stream like an hour and a half ago and open up a members lounge, and I just didn't. So that's kind of it's a little bit I got to be careful to not do that though, because I think people get really, really confused. They're like, "What the hell am I subscribed to right now? I don't get it." Oh, you're saying you thought I wasn't streaming? I was acoustic today. Yeah, we'll just call it that, Chris. But yeah, this is where I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I enjoyed having this kind of different conversation towards the second half of the stream. So I do have it, like I said, I have a video going out later on today. So please look forward to that. Just another news video covering a couple topics. And yeah, I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I want to say, as of right now, I'm probably going to stream again tomorrow. Hellbound says, "Damn, too late." Well, don't stress too much, Hellbound, because I don't want to say you missed too much during the stream today. We covered a few gaming topics for the first like hour and a half, and then the second half was basically a members lounge that I didn't actually make a members lounge. So don't feel too bad. We'll probably be back tomorrow with another stream. There is a chance I won't stream. I don't know. I'm just gonna say for right now I'm gonna stream. But if you show up tomorrow and there's no stream up, it's simply just because I'm gonna give it another day to get some topics accumulated. But I don't know. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying at this point. But either way, Hellbound, don't worry about it, bro. All right. So before I head out, guys, I do just want to again thank you for all the support. Anybody who dropped any memberships today or became a member, or anybody who dropped a super chat, thank you guys for all the support. I actually do want to make sure really quick before I end this that I didn't hear any notifications go off, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss any direct. Okay, we're good on that. All caught up. All right. So yeah, that wraps today's stream up. Saying you just got home from work, hellbound, a lot of electrical failure at work. Damn. Well, I guess you could go back and rewatch this one. I know it's not the same sometimes as watching live, but we got more streams coming throughout the week, so no worries. But thank you guys once again. Devil Shooter, again, you don't have to do timestamps for the stream if you didn't already do them. But either way, we appreciate what you do, man. And yeah, that does it. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna finish work on my video and get that put out a little bit later. And I think we should reconvene sometime tomorrow. So, guys, that does it. Until next time, take care, everyone. I'm actually just going to go have another existential crisis, but, it's all good. It's all good.